Andy Sundberg, Paul DeWart, and the Harbor Master Tyler Loomis is online. Charles Lawrence had said he was going to join us. We will see.
Can you hear me now? This is Paul.
Yes, I certainly can, Paul.
Okay. Yeah, I had to figure out how to get myself unmuted. Last meeting I was muted for 3/4 of the meeting.
Okay. Well, we now have, I think we have Dave Stewart not only visually, but perhaps on his phone as well.
I figured out, I was able to get him on.
Well, I think your phone is still active.
Okay.
Oh, the technological joys of Zoom meetings. Okay, on the agenda, first item would obviously be the minutes of our last rocket ship meeting that we had. That would be of July 7th. Did people have an opportunity to read those minutes? And if so, could we have a appropriate motion or comments, please?
Greg, I'll move to accept.
I second him.
Andy seconds. So Greg moved to accept. Andy seconds. All those in favor on a roll call vote, please. Could I have Dave Stewart?
I accept.
And Greg Banner?
Accept.
Andy Sundberg, please.
I accept.
Paul DeWart?
I accept.
And I accept as well. So that's done. So now we got to, I'm gonna make myself a checklist. The next item on the agenda, correspondence. We have none. At this point, we normally open up the meeting to public comment. We have Deb Hagan online as the only member of the public I can see. I don't know if there are any other members of the public that have comments or any of the board members want to make comments that are appropriate. Hearing, seeing none, huh?
I'm just curious about Charlie, who's normally at our meetings when we're in session. Is he okay? Is he doing okay? Maybe just technologically challenged? Anybody
I
know?
think I sent him specifically. He actually called me about the item on the agenda relative to the bridge and whatnot. And so I actually made a point of sending him an email this morning. So I know he's healthy and around, so that's not the issue. I don't know if he's technologically challenged or not.
Okay, well, good to hear he's healthy. I'm just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. I can assure you of that for 45 minutes of assurance. While I was trying to do some shopping at Ace Hardware. Anyways, so no public comments. Construction reports, I don't know, is there any to be had? Sea level rise, we don't have Dr. Lawrence with us, so I don't know if we have anything to go there. We have no correspondence. Interestingly, Paul, with regards to the Sepauwett boat ramp, this weekend I saw 3 cars down on that beach. So, and they were just standard little SUVs and not big heavy duty pickup trucks. So people are evidently able to drive that road in a reasonable vehicle as opposed to, a standard sedan like perhaps you drive or your car could do it. My car couldn't. I'd be leaving my exhaust system.
What ramp was that?
The Sepauwett approach there, that little cove. There were 3 SUVs that not unsimilar to yours down there.
Oh, down Jack's Island you're talking about?
Yep, down looking out towards Winnisumet.
Yeah, because I haven't been down there for so long, but every time I drive by, I look at the roadway and it's still, but it's been dry for so long that it's passable now, with no water in it. Yeah.
I don't know if we have any more information relative to the U.S. Geological Survey regarding the current velocities. Any news on that at all, Greg?
Yeah, I after the last meeting, I reached back out to the commercial company. I forget the name right now, but the folks that were doing the surveys and stuff, and I reminded them and asked them again, and they pledged again to gather. They apparently no issue from their end now. It's just a matter of going through the work of pulling out the data that relates specifically to our area. And I sent a note again this morning referencing this meeting, asking them, what the status was. And it was basically trying to come up with a thumb drive to put the data onto, and then he would mail it to me. So maybe we'll see something. I still don't know, exactly what it'll entail. Maybe a lot of very, very technical stuff, but I guess we'll be happy to get it, and we'll look at it when it gets here. So hopefully soon.
Excellent. Well, might be just a pile of numbers to most of us, but who knows? That'd be nice to see. Dinghy landing at Stone Bridge abutment. As we all know, that we're operating on last year's budget basically right now. There is no town budget for the 2020 year. So our $10,000 capital budget for that, I imagine, is on hold. And given the motion of the ordinance that the town council tried to pass or is in process of passing relative to utilization of the the casinos monies as capital monies for the next year after we have it. I would think if we're lucky, we might be able to look at it next year, but I don't know. Depends on where the town sits, or if we can get maybe a sharper, realistic number, maybe less than $10,000, if we can get a lot of the work done with volunteer work with the equipment and such. Certainly our local landscaper was certainly willing to lend help with trucks, equipment, and trailers. So I guess it's a wait and see on that. Has anyone given any thought to the process of doing the flood mitigation straps, the Winiarski straps, for the elevations on telephone poles and such? Because I can go back to that guy now that we're maybe getting closer back to normal and see what kind of input he can give us in terms of which telephone poles in coordination with National Grid and Verizon. Did anyone give any thought to that at all?
And how to attach them?
Yeah. How to set it up, whether it's a single strap or a series of straps that you set in place with a jig that would hold them, nail them to the pole.
Do we even know where they're going to come from or how they're going to be paid for?
Nope. No. Let's get to we gotta get to step one is the idea that the people with the poles will allow us to do it. Step two is, what do we want to do? How do we want to go about it? And then determine what the cost would be.
Was it Charlie himself? Was he the one at one of the meetings a while ago that he said there was something, I guess, on or adjacent to his property or one of his properties? He said he was just going to do it. He already had some ideas and was going to do it as a model. I thought that, I'm sort of remembering that.
Right. He might have been, I know he said, well, why don't you just do it? And it's like, well, because as a commission, we can't just do it. I can understand his angst with regards to that. But the neat thing is we now have the permission. I'll reach out to Charlie, maybe see if we can get him involved in that. Do a little bit of, here you go. Paul, you have a comment?
Well, I don't know. Has anybody made decisions on where they're going to go and how many we need?
We need to identify the low spots in town, and that would be how many you need, and then determine how to do it.
Yeah. I mean, as far as getting it done, I would be willing to work on that crew and help out.
Right.
If anyone else is interested, I wouldn't want to have to do it all alone, but
I'd help you, Paul.
I think we could make it a team effort on a Saturday. I don't think that.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Who owns the poles? National Grid?
National Grid and Verizon each own the poles, and I've got a contact with National Grid, and he said he didn't see it as being any problems at all.
They own them together, or some own some and some own others?
Some own some and some own others. That's exactly been the problem. But he said he has a counterpart at Verizon, and he told me, he said this will be no problem. It's a matter of life safety, and it's a good idea and actually good for their employees too. So
It's good PR for them too. I mean,
Yeah, we might be able to get them to give us a grant. Who knows?
I know one guy I could ask who works for National Grid. He keeps his boat right down the bottom of my street. Matthew, I can't think of his last name, but I see him quite often. I could ask him, any questions like, But as far as I know, and I've been told, is National Grid owns the whole grid. Only National Grid does the poles. The pole replacements and all that stuff. So I don't know, even if it's maybe it's a Verizon, but National, they don't have the equipment or they don't do the poles, because that's what I was told by a National Grid guy. But I could ask him that question. He's a supervisor and works for National Grid, so he's up the management ladder a little bit, but he's also he does dispatch and stuff like that. He's on call.
Paul, that's in my another file. Let me look up the name before we get things confused and whatnot and shoot ourselves in the foot a little bit. I'll get back in touch with you on that. I'll make a note of that.
You know what? I would think that when this gets to the point of actually implementing it, it would require an engineering study or project to do it right. I mean, it's not just, some guy winging it with his eyeball and saying, yeah, that looks about right, let's throw up a sign. I would think you really want to do it right and know that the flood levels you're indicating are accurate, and that, I mean, I don't know.
Well, we're not going above sea level, right? We're just going above the grade.
We're just going above the grade, Greg, and so it'd be a matter
of the existing grade. So how many feet of water do we have? And that's all we really need. So a tape measure would be sufficient, or some type of measure device
that transit's situated in the middle of the road that's leveled up, and you say, okay, this is 5 feet above the road. Just mark that spot and come down from it. Be pretty straightforward.
And then figuring out the flood-prone areas.
I have a couple of lasers too, that laser level, and a couple of electronic measuring devices. So those could be helpful. Of course, I have to find them because I've been retired for a few years, but I have them. I know I have them. Oh, here's my level. I just found it. I'm down in the basement right now.
Start measuring.
Yeah.
Stop measuring.
You know who's going to be the crew leader here? Who's going to be the nail bangers? Oh, there goes the thumb again. All right, so on to new business. Nada Kane at 239 Nanaquacket Road. We gave her a green light on her dock. This is the one that was near a former wharf, if you will, and wharfed out of it. And they want to move her dock 15 feet to the south. My guess is, just nothing more than a guess, is that the dock builder said, get me away from those rocks, having experienced what will happen down at my dock. And then driving pilings around here is not an easy chore. I guess if you're near, I would think if you're near a wharf, that's even worse. It doesn't put it any closer to, it's still well outside of the 25-foot setback. So I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on it, if you want to actually make them come back, or you want to just say, yeah, it's probably fine. DPW already issued an opinion that it's fine by them.
Say we grant it.
Okay, so Dave, you're making a motion that you grant the request, recommend granting the request.
Can I ask a question first?
Sure, by all means, Paul.
Question. I had I got is that the CRMC that you sent of the dock of Nanaquacket?
Right.
On the Connet River side? Is that the one we're talking about? Yeah, okay, yeah. I looked it over best I could, but had a hard time reading it on the computer, because it wasn't very high quality. But from what I could see, it wasn't very high quality scan, but it was a PDF file that whenever you blew it up, it just pixelated. But anyways, I couldn't really understand what was going on. It looked like it was going parallel with the dock was going parallel with the shoreline, or the pier was.
They're just moving it south for 15 feet. There's a old wharf that was there, footings were.
Yeah, yeah,
And they were right next to it. Maybe they decided that if we move it 15 feet to the south, we get a little more room for
Okay.
maneuvering dinghies and such. I don't know. I don't know what their
yeah,
motivation.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
see,
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have any. I didn't have any objection to it that I could see anything wrong. So, and if you say that there's no encroachment on the 25 feet, then I don't see
Yeah.
any reason why not.
All right. So you're going to second Dave's motion?
Yes.
Okay. So David and
Thanks.
Paul, anyone else have any comments? All right. Seeing none, hearing none. Let's do a little roll call here. I got to get my head count up here. Mr. Stewart, how do you feel about things?
Yes.
Mr. Banner, how about you?
Yes.
Mr. Sundberg
Yes.
and Mr. Duarte?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So we get that's a 5-0 go. Okay. And so now we go on to the next thing. This is now this Nanaquacket Bridge fishing closure proposal by the administrator and the chief of police. And Chris Cotta, I don't know if you're listening in or not, but if you are, if you want to present the issue, that might be helpful.
Okay, I'll present it. I do know that both the chief and I have been monitoring the area for quite some time. And while 90% of the time it's not an issue, it's the weekends where people set up at lawn chairs and coolers and stop people from using the sidewalk and have actually forced pedestrians into the street. We got little kids running around on top of that bridge unsupervised. It's just a nightmare waiting for something to happen. And we have no issue with them fishing off the area, from the land. But from the south side, they stand on that, 4-inch ledge. They put their gear in the road. And again, people have to traverse the road, and it's just a disaster waiting for somebody to get hit or killed up there. It's, I know we've been fortunate enough not to have any accidents up there, but my issue and the chief's issue is it's a liability issue for the town, even though it's a state road. So we want to put it before the traffic commission and let them decide what to do with it. We believe that they probably will not take action on it, but I think as it relates to, the community itself, we need to put something on record that we were at least advised DOT about it. So that's where it stands. The meeting
What
did
bridge
get
are we
canceled.
talking about here?
Nanaquacket
Powell?
Bridge. No,
Yeah,
Nanaquacket.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've had some commercial boat owners complain about things going into their radars. I've had pedestrians, joggers, bikers, all kinds of people complain about that issue. But it's, we just are very, very concerned that somebody's going to get hurt on top of that bridge. But again, like, we're not trying to stop people from fishing. They can go down to the shoreline and fish from there.
Is there any way you can restrict non-fishermen?
I mean, that's the problem. It's the people who don't pay attention and are just ignorant of what's going on around them, that it's just a disaster waiting to happen. And I just feel compelled that we need to put something before the traffic commission and let them rule on it one way or another. It's, it is a state road, so it's not a whole lot that we can do about it.
So the fishing is this is Paul Duarte. The fishing on that bridge is pretty much all across on both sides, but there used to be a sign there that said fishermen must raise lines when boats or something. Some instruction. I don't know if it was in English and Spanish or if it's what. Is that sign still there?
No, I don't believe it is.
Yeah, there used to be a sign years ago, and of course, when I was a kid, we used to go jumping off that bridge all the time. And
Yeah, and I still see kids doing it, and I'm even fine with that. It's the little kids that, these families run up, and I believe it or not, I believe that these people are actually fishing for their sustained livelihood,
Yeah.
but they don't pay attention with their kids up there, and they're running around. I had
Yeah,
a
I know.
6-year-old girl run out in front of my truck.
yeah, I see it. I've seen it myself.
So it's, I don't believe the traffic commission will do anything about it, but if something does happen up there, the town is going to get blamed for not doing anything about it. And I just want to be on record that we want to make note of it.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, certain days things can get out of hand when scup are running and when the snappers are running. They're all over that place. Yeah.
There's actually an area along Main Road to the south side, and I guess it's Nanaquacket Road, that there's a shore area there where there used to be some stairs that went down where you could actually fish from. It's a DOT project, but the stairs have collapsed. It makes it difficult for anybody to use it. So there are areas around there that could be, better suited for fishing along the shoreline than on top of that bridge.
There won't be in the depth of water.
Chris, are you talking about the little stairs that are near the coffee shop?
Yep.
The road in Nanaquacket?
No, the ones they're crossing the Black Goose there. They're
right.
Yeah.
Those steps are in rough shape, but
They're gone. They're not even there anymore.
yeah.
They've collapsed straight into the shore.
Yeah, it's real dangerous over there now. It's climbing down. There's nothing there, and that is we talked about that in past, fixing that wall area and redoing those stairs. That's all state property, I do believe. But
It is all
No
state
money.
property.
I don't know. Did we do anything as a commission to try to get somebody to jump on that? Because there was also the condition of the retaining wall on the bridge between the gut and the Nanaquacket Pond. There was also I had taken some pictures and we had submitted them to someone, but I don't know if anything is ever going to be done with that. But fishing wise, is just not good fishing from that little beach area over there. And at high tide, there is no beach. There is no beach at all at high tide. So
Fishing's much better on the bridge.
Fishing is much better on the bridge. So it's always been that way. And
It's just too many competing uses.
Yeah, there are some dangerous areas too. Fishing up and down that wall, that seawall on the two sides of the bridge. It's dangerous, especially if there's little kids. And these little kids, and you have, I don't know, it seems like you have parents that just, they're on their cell phones. I'm just going to say it. They're on their cell phones and not paying attention to the kids, I know what you're saying. It's a dangerous situation down there, but you know what happens if somebody in the car hits somebody, then it's the person driving the car's fault. So
No, I get it.
Maybe.
I'd like to express an opinion on this. I normally wait until the end, but I live on off of Nanaquacket. I live on. I go across that bridge every day, twice a day, and the total length of that bridge from Main Road to the corner by Karam's is just about 1/10 of a mile. So the actual bridge itself is only a few hundred feet long. You're traveling at 1.5 feet per second per mile per hour. So if you go across that bridge at the speed limit of 25 miles an hour, you're going about, you're going at a good clip, and you're going, what would that be? About 37 feet per second. And it would take you to get across that bridge about 2 seconds, 3 seconds maybe, the actual bridge part where they're fishing. If you have to back yourself all the way down to 5 miles an hour with your foot on the brake, so your car isn't just running, it's going to take you maybe 10 seconds. 10 seconds of my life is worth a whole lot less than some kid's life. And it's easy to see. I've had a kid that was jumping off the bridge, be a hot sketch in front of me one time, and they were just wandering across the road. And I came to a stop, and he put his fanny on my front grill as a laugh. And I quietly slipped into reverse gear, back down, and he went on his fanny. I've seen the kids running in the street, and I know that's an issue, and I understand the concern, but there but for the grace of God goes every one of us, and that's access to the water is so very limited around here from a standpoint of how much water we have and how little access there really is to decent fishing. To tell people they couldn't fish there, I think would be just an abomination. It'd get your name in the paper, all right. I think it'd get your name in the national news if you deprive these people of that, especially during the times of COVID when people are, may very well be trying to catch literally their dinner.
They are.
You can tell. I think the thing is put up traffic signs to say, tell people slow down, make the speed limit there 10 miles an hour. Whoop de doo. And if people don't like it, go the other way. It's not the only way off. So I mean, it's. I think I understand Chris's concern from a liability perspective, and gee, if we don't say something. But I think you're doing two things. You're tilting against windmills more than anything else. And secondly, people can crawl through there. I mean, maybe we should close the coffee shop there in the center of town, because I have to go slower through there every morning than I'd have to go across that bridge. So, I mean, okay, let's close the coffee shop down. That's going to cause me action. That's the problem.
I agree with Bruce. Maybe we could.
I
put some
agree with
signs
Bruce
up.
wholeheartedly too, and the speed limit through that coffee shop area, even in near the Stone Bridge, is 25 miles an hour. But yet you got people coming 40 miles an hour and in through there if they're uninhibited by cars going slow, people crossing the street. I cross that street every day by the coffee shop, and sometimes I have to wait for wait 5 or 6 cars before somebody realizes, oh, there's somebody standing in the crosswalk here. Maybe the answer is put a police car there every now and then to wise people up that 25 miles an hour is the speed limit. And the same thing on the bridge over there. That would take a while, because I've seen people go zooming over that Nanaquaka Bridge, 30, 40 miles an hour. It's like, I don't know what the speed limit is, but I've walked up that way and seen it happen, So I'm not saying it's not you, Bruce. But,
if the speed limit's 25, do I clip across that bridge if I can see the whole bridge and there's nobody on it? Sure I do. Everybody does.
Yeah.
But the moment you see people on it, you put your brakes on. I mean, the whole thing is just a matter of common sense.
Maybe a caution light, a blinking caution light, the solar caution light or something. Watch for pedestrians and change the speed limit. I think that's a great idea.
I mean, Chris, that's something the traffic commission could do. Is they could, while it is a state road, they could ask the state to lower the speed limit. I'm going to make a lot of friends of my neighbors here to say that the speed limit crossing the bridge is 10 miles an hour. Chris, I can't hear you. You're muted.
Still,
Sure.
yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I
I can hear you now.
So we're open to suggestions. We just thought that it was the easiest way to get before them was to, complain about the issue with the families up on top of it.
Mhm.
And we're not opposed to, people fishing. We just, or access to the water. We just think, the DOT should really take a look at, like you're right, maybe it is signage, maybe it is some other methodology that they can help to contain or control traffic better than what's up there now. I'm just like you. I'm very cautious about going over that, but it doesn't take but a kid a couple of seconds to get in front of your car. It really doesn't. So we're just concerned about it, and we think it's the best venue, and let DOT deal with it after we're done with it. It's
Right.
I really don't think that they're gonna prohibit anybody from fishing. I just don't think that that's gonna happen. But that was the only way we could get it before them. If we asked for a sign, we'd be asking for it for the next 5 years, and we won't see them. So it's we just want to see some better management of that area.
Would it help if the Harbor Commission made a recommendation that signage at speed limit be reduced to 10 miles an hour across the bridge, and a caution sign, caution fishermen ahead sign put up?
I'm sure they'll take any recommendation possible. And like I said, we just want it before them so that somebody should take a look at it. And maybe they'll also take a look at, and I know at high tide, that's not a very nice area to fish on that, where that wall is built. But when it's low tide, it is a very good area to fish, and it would be nice if they had access to it. So, the less we can get them off the more we can get some people off the bridge and fish from other venues in that area to help the congestion, especially in that area where you could have a family down by the grassy area by the wall, it would make more sense. But it's, I just think the RIDOT has to do something and take a look at some of their infrastructure and maybe make some better improvements of signage. I'm not asking for a light or anything like that, but it is a pretty tough stretch of road. When you come from Main Road, you come up on that hill, it is a little bit of a blind spot coming around that curve. And it doesn't take much for those kids to get in front of you.
I mean, coming off the main road?
Yeah. Coming up from Main Road, it can be a little bit of a blind spot, especially if they're fishing from both sides. And you got a kid behind those bushes when you come up on the right-hand side. It can be a little daunting, but it's, all that can be cleaned up and cleared too. So those are things that DOT should go down there and take a look at.
People do take
There's
that.
another thought on, I don't know how, traffic people figure out what works best in locations, but another thought I have is, what if you put at either end of the bridge a crosswalk? I mean, formally draw a crosswalk out there on the road, because people are going back and forth, fishermen are. Wouldn't that also be a really big, obvious sign that would help slow people down and watch for pedestrians and actually technically give them the right of way at that point, which drivers understand?
That's a good
I
idea.
don't know if it's one idea, but I don't know if a crosswalk is the answer to slow people down, because it certainly doesn't happen on Main Road. That's for sure. There's two
How about some
crosswalks.
speed bumps?
Yeah, speed bumps. Yeah, but nobody wants to deal with speed bumps.
If they would just prohibit the lawn chairs and the coolers, I mean, that would, that forces people out into the road.
Yeah.
I've walked across that bridge when fishermen were taking up the entire walkway and had to step down into the road. And even that isn't such a horrible thing. You're walking, the traffic on the road is not that great. You look, you step down, you walk around them, you step back up. So, I mean, maybe we could do some bilateral signage asking automobiles to watch out for pedestrians and pedestrians to watch out for automobiles.
Yep.
Crosswalk is not a terrible idea. We probably wouldn't need two, just one. But I'd love not to have to discourage the fishing if we can get away with it.
I don't think we want to do that.
Okay.
No, not at all.
We looks like we have a couple new people. We have Paul here in this 518.
Hang on. I do see somebody came in. Hang on.
Hi, Bruce.
Oh,
Chip here.
Ah.
Yeah, they finally unmuted me.
One of our members, Charles Lawrence. We've just been discussing the Nanaquacket Bridge fishing issue. I don't know if you've been hearing it or not.
Yeah, I've been hearing it. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
Did you have any comments you wish to make about it?
I think a crosswalk, while it has its troubles, is a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So do I have a motion from anybody in the commission relative to the idea of us sending a letter to the, Chris, to whom should I send this letter to?
It's the state traffic commissioner. I'll send you an email with to whom it goes to.
Okay, great. As to the various recommendations that we might want to make. Someone wish to frame something up that I can make notes on and then frame a letter up with?
I'm willing to do that. I'd like to request that there be a crosswalk marked at the intersection of Main Road and where it comes into the bridge, just one crosswalk, and then two types of signs. One that cautions drivers to watch out for pedestrians.
Oh, my sunglasses are here somewhere. Oh, here they are. Okay.
And the other one that cautions pedestrians to watch out for cars. And I think those three things would be what I'd like to recommend.
I would second that.
All right, then on a roll call vote, let me get my little roster going here again. Mr. Stewart, how do you feel about things?
I'm in favor of what Andy proposed.
Mr. Banner?
Yeah, approved. I'm going to ask Andy to restate the three items so I can get it in the minutes, but yeah.
More cohesively?
No, I just slower so I can type it in.
Okay.
Andy, how do you feel about it?
I approve.
All right, Charles, how do you feel about it?
I approve.
And Paul, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I approve.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm just reading these names in the sequence they're on in the minutes and whatnot. And I, as chair, approve of this. So we'll be doing a letter, Chris, to the DOT. It says, here's how we feel about things.
Okay.
Do we want to amend that motion or add to that motion, lower the speed limits on the bridge?
I think that would be a good idea, actually.
That'll give the cops some teeth. If people are going to zip across it, they can say, hey, wait a minute. No, not that we want to, put the onus per se on the police, but that'll give us some teeth.
Good idea.
In a position to recommend, the more ammunition we provide, saying we think all of these could be good ideas. Please look at them and consider them.
Okay, so we're up to 4 items. One is a reduction in the speed limit. Do we want to put a number on it or just request a reduction?
5 miles an hour.
They should be able to judge with just a reduction.
All right, so item 1 is a reduction in the speed limit. Item 2 is a crosswalk at the intersection of Main Road and Anaquacket.
Right, up by the bridge though, right?
By the bridge, yes. I figure 1 is better than 2.
Mm-hmm.
The third item is signage cautioning cars to watch out for pedestrians. And the fourth item is signage asking pedestrians to watch out for automobiles.
Mm-hmm.
So the person you send it to is a Sean Raymond, and it's SEAN. And he has a PE after his name. And he's the secretary for the State Traffic Commission. And it's at 2 Capitol Hill, Providence, Rhode Island. And it's 02903.
Okay.
I'll send it to you by email as well.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Is it Andy drafting that letter? Are you doing it, Andy? And then send it direct and Bruce will sign it, or how's it working?
I could draft it. I assumed that Chris was going to do it.
No, I would be the drafter of the letter.
Okay. Oh, Bruce is doing it.
Bruce.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Bruce.
Or you can do it, Andy. By all means, I have no.
I'm happy to have you do it, Bruce. You carry more weight.
No. All right. Anyhow, all right. So next we're on to the Agriculture Ordinances, the idea of trying to figure out in this lovely environment we're in now, we're now a dirty state, how we can get together safely with adequate space and do our technological stuff again. I guess we can probably approach the library. Does the library have a room, or Chris, are there rooms? Where are the rooms that are large enough that 10 of us can get together, 10 or 12 of us can get together with adequate space around us?
So my understanding is
There's a big conference room at the library.
The library is they're not taking reservations for rooms yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know when that's going to happen and when they're going to open up. So I'm not really sure. We were trying to look for a venue to do a zoning board meeting for the propane issue on the state line. And we're probably looking at the high school auditorium with the middle school cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
But with that comes some issues, because not only you still have to have, when you have a public meeting, you still have to be able to provide access to people to participate remotely. So it's difficult. We have yet to find a way to do this where we can have a Zoom meeting and have it live in a venue that can handle the public and outside people who don't come to the meeting to handle their participation at the same time. It's not as easy as people think. It's actually a pretty daunting task. And we just don't have the technology.
Yeah, I would imagine that. But we have to have the technology available to us, I guess, is what you're saying, even though
Yep.
the likelihood of anybody attending is slim and none.
Right.
So
So-
we held a meeting where that was an issue, and people could Zoom into the meeting, they could attend the meeting. And if they had questions, there was a phone number we gave them to call that would put them into the meeting. And then their questions would essentially go through the Zoom system and be part of the record of the call, as well as give them a way, even if they're in the room, of communicating directly to everybody, the people in the room and the people not in the room.
And you still have to live stream it at the same time.
Right, which you can do through Zoom.
So the issue becomes, if you have members of your committee who are on Zoom, how do you do it in the same, because they're going to squelch over one another because they're running the same frequency.
Well, plus you do have the issue of not being able to live stream the questioners.
Right.
Because they'll be.
You have to do it off of some, we've tried to work our way through this, whether we do it with a, like a whiteboard that's up and we project onto it. It still creates a problem though for the members of the committee who are not present are okay because they would be on Zoom. It's the members who are in the meeting how do you participate in the Zoom meeting if you don't have it in front of you?
They could have laptops in front of them.
Yeah, but you can't run. I can't have two Zoom things running in the same. I can't do it that close together. They squelch over on one another.
Yeah.
It's a technological issue that they bleed over into one another. It makes it really difficult. I can do one at the other end of the town hall. I've had them in different offices, but I can't do it in the same area. So if you're 6 feet
maybe
apart
a different type of thing like WebEx would be something that would be a better platform for these type of meetings.
I don't know. That's a platform we don't have, but we're still trying to find this process to be able to do multiple technologies at the same time.
What is the specific reason for wanting an in-person meeting with the agriculture ordinances? On Zoom?
Versus just doing it all on Zoom and having you and it was so effective with you and Jason and the overhead projector on the screen. If we could do that with screen sharing, that might be very effective.
Are you talking about the agriculture ordinances or the harbor management plan?
Both. I mean, the agriculture ordinances are something we have to develop, but the harbor management plan is the element that they would go into. So it's a harbor management plan.
Okay. I was on the wrong issue. Got it.
No, they're both there. So, it's my fault. I sort of merged the two. I should have done that. Okay. All right. Perhaps we could have some discussions as to how to do that, which is not an open meetings violation because we're just talking about procedures and whatnot and scheduling as opposed to discussing the topic. So we don't need to have an open meeting element about that. So maybe we can have some discussions about that, Greg and Andy, because I am an absolute disaster when it comes to technology. I have frozen computers that I was guaranteed could not be frozen. Bristol Town Hall, the guy says, it cannot be frozen. And I walked over to it, I touched the damn thing, and bingo, it froze. Great.
I have a friend who kills gasoline engines just by looking at them. He finally went electric.
All righty, so let's see what we can figure about how to do that.
Hey, Bruce.
Meetings issue.
I gotta head out.
Okay, Tyler, quick question. Mooring renewal status, everything green light? Good?
Those are all set. The boat's still running great.
Yeah, I saw that this weekend.
And I just had a question about the aquaculture up at Powell. Did you ever write that email?
I did not get that guy's email. I will make a note and send myself an email about that today.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Hey, what was the mooring status? I missed that.
They're all set for the year.
Okay.
Alrighty, I will see you guys later.
Yeah, Tyler.
Bye now.
All right. All right. So that's where we are, I guess. So we now find ourselves at 450. And Charles, I'm not sure, but maybe it's time for your motion.
My emotions?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yes, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?